Okay. Good evening or good afternoon, whichever one, however you want to see it. We're gonna open up the meeting. The time is 5:05, 5:04 p.m. So we'll go ahead and we'll call to order, and Commissioner Healy will lead us in the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Kathleen Ballesteros,
Present.
Kevin Hill,
Present.
Francine Goodman,
Present.
Yuri Anderson,
Here.
and Maria Roscoe is absent today.
Okay. We're gonna go to the board agenda, item 3, comments from the public.
Do we have any comments online? Hearing none. Any in person? Hearing none.
Okay, thank you, Kathy. We'll go down to item number 4, approval of the minutes of the regular board meeting held on June 23rd, 2025. Do I have a motion?
I move approval.
In a second. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. So it's been a motion by Commissioner Anderson and second by Commissioner Goodwin.
Okay, the roll call vote, Kathleen Ballesteros.
Yes.
Kevin Healy,
Abstain since I was not present.
Francine Goodman,
Yes.
and Yuri Anderson.
Yes.
That concludes the roll call.
Okay, thank you. We're on to item 5, reports of the committees. The first one is board reports ad hoc committee.
I was able to meet with staff for, we did an initial review of the finance report, and there involves you, Commissioner Gilly.
Okay.
But I think it was good, two-parter, because it was a lot of information, and Jen really walked us through like everything that we have, that we've been looking at, through some of the reports that she's been working on adding, and just able to provide feedback, and I think that maybe in like 3 meetings, we might have a new view for our financial reports after they get Kevin's feedback, that are more streamlined, and highlight the stuff that the commissioner. It was good. We're continuing to work. Though I did reiterate at some point, I feel like we probably need to reinstitute the budget and finance committee so that there is a group of commissioners who are really digging into some of the details that seem like they're too in the weeds for this meeting.
Thank you for that. And for the policy ad hoc committee, we did meet and the items that were brought up is on the agenda for under new business. Okay, so now we're gonna go to number 6, report of the secretary. Angelica, hand it to you.
All right. So. Well, I just dive into my, well, you know, I can do it as part of the report, so I always like this section. We were working with the field office to finalize the compliance review. Every item was addressed and finalized except for the policy that's on the agenda for today. That is the last thing that needs board approval, and then I can send that to the HUD office and that'll close out that entire compliance review, plus gives us a process and a procedure for moving forward and making sure that this is done on a timely basis for the tenant account receivables. We've been working with the city of Salina still to finalize the Fairview project. It's really out of our hands right now. It's up at the state level. So once they finalize their portions, then we can move forward with obtaining that property and starting that program. We do not attend the meetings. They just give us updates after because they asked us to refrain from attending the meeting so that they can really address the issues at hand with the city. So we're just in a pause for that, but it still looks optimistic. It's, you know, we're just waiting for them to conclude that. Property management is working on getting a recertifications process in a more timely manner and implementing ways to become more efficient and use the yardage system to its fullest. And we're also working on trainings to put in the HOTMA regulations that are started for the property management department. We begun operations of HDC owned properties as of June the 1st. This action was generated a savings of $351,741 for management fees that was previously paid to John Stewart Companies for those 5 properties. That is not all of the savings that we have, but that's the savings just from the management fee side of it. If you look at the charts below, you can see all of the properties and see that how they were increasing over time, even though the rent collection and other things were not increasing. So it was really putting a strain on operations. So we felt like that it'll be more beneficial to the agency for us to take back over that and really look at the operations and the property management, the staff and things like that to get the properties running so that they can actually generate a profit and be ready for whatever implementation have to come next, because some of them gonna need redevelopment and things of that nature. If then at the property management, properties for HECM and HDC, some of those are listed below, and it shows what the management fee was in 2024, what it changed to in 2025. So one thing that was discovered, a lot of these management agreements been in effect since like the 90s or early 2000s. Whatever was agreed upon at that time has never been increased. So we looked at all the documents, we had the attorneys review them too, and we increased them almost to the maximum revenue that the Housing Authority or HCD could generate from those properties. So that way to give us more money for improvements, operations, things like that. And the increase went from $913,500 in 2024 to $1,780,756 in 2025. We first started doing this in 2023. That's why 2024 had a slight increase. But then after we really got a chance to look at all of them and do them at their anniversary dates, that's why it's so much of a jump this year. And increasing this does not hinder the properties. It does not hinder operations or anything of that nature. It's just strictly letting us get the management fee that we are allowed to get based on the contracts. Tynan Village, we have some project-based vouchers over there. It's for 41 units. It was time to renew their contract 2 years ago, actually. But during all the transition, the contract was not renewed. However, it's not a fine on us because we are the owners and the operators, and we also provide the vouchers for the site. But we do need to go ahead and do a new contract. A contract can go for 40 years. The first contract was 15 years. We can do add on now for 25, and we can retro it back to the time that it stopped. The other one expired. There would be no cost in doing that because even though the contract expired, operations continued as if the contract was still in place. And so there's no back pay or anything, but it'll just legitimize everything moving forward. Like again, this is not any type of finding or anything like that. The HUD office, they already know about this. The auditors know about this. And because of the transition and leadership and the things that was going on here, it's okay. It won't be anything that we have to worry about, but we do need to take care of it as soon as possible. And we also made a chart for all of the other properties to make sure that they're did ahead of time as they are supposed to be. And that's attached also for consideration by the board to look at the resolution. The next thing is the agency budget. So we have a budget in here for the Housing Authority and for HDC. We have the resolutions and so that we can get them passed and actually implement them. The start date was July 1. They are late this year, but as I explained in the previous meetings, we really want to give a more efficient budget and one that was realistic with the operations as they are proceeding and what we hope to do. We have put something in place to start having the budget ready earlier every year by March or at least no later than April. So that'll give the board time to review. We can have special meetings and have the finance committee like Ms. Anderson was saying and have it ready for the July 1 date. Because we don't do public housing anymore, There is no finding or audit finding or anything like that for us being late, because we are not held under that regulation because of the part of HUD that we in now. But we do need to go ahead and approve it so the operation can move forward and we can start to monitor it and see how it works out and what changes we may need to make in the future. And we'll talk about it a little bit more when we get to the resolution, but that's the biggest thing in finance. We also had a renewal contract for BDO. 2 years ago, we decided to start using BDO to help us with the finance department to get everything on track. That's been working out really well. With them assisting, we have uncovered funds that previously we thought we couldn't use, that we can use, and we were able to make some differences in the operations of the finance department, and they also helped us to catch up all of the audits. When you have the procurement done 2 years ago, that same procurement can last up to 5 years. You don't have to renew it before then unless you're dissatisfied with the service, which we're not. And at the 5-year period, we can look at procuring it again, or we can also get the HUD field office to give us a waiver so that we don't have to, and we can just continue moving forward for another 3 years. So really, you can do it up to 8 years before you have to change to somebody else. So that's why we didn't have to procure it. We just merely put it on here as a renewal. And so that brings us to development. I put in here the article for King City Days Inn project. We had the grand opening. It was very successful, very well received. The property looked phenomenal, even for just the grand opening when you know how it looked before. We're really excited about it, and I think it'll be on track to get all of the work done. Ms. Kathleen was there, she spoke, Supervisor Lopez was there, he spoke some more, the county administrator officer, she was there. And I wanted to share with the board that Supervisor Alejo, even though it's in King City, he issued this proclamation to the housing authority for the work that we did out there. And it was presented during the ceremony. I thought it was really nice and pretty, just to congratulate us on all the progress. And hopefully we'll be doing this again soon in FAMU, but he did present us with that. And for the staff, Ms. Kathleen, who was present, also wrote a letter acknowledging that it was an amazing time when she was in attendance. And she wanted to commend the staff of the Housing Authority and the Housing Authority of County of Monterey Housing Development Corporation for how you organized it, all of the work that was done, the entertainment. The guy who was out there playing the guitar or whatever he was playing, he was doing it so good that I had kind of forgot he was even in it for a minute because the music was just so continuous. But people was kind of dancing and stuff. It was just a fun event. And so she wanted to make sure that all of the staff knew how grateful she was for how hard they worked for both of the agencies. And so she wrote a letter to acknowledge that and commend you all. So I want to let you know that. And that is, I put a couple pictures in there so everybody could see, but it was a really good event. It's the first of many. And hopefully next year we'll be out there for the grand opening once all of the rehab work is finished. The Section 8 department is working on the annual submission for CMAP. It was submitted. We're just waiting to see what the score is gonna be. I think it's gonna be like a 74, which is standard. I don't think it'll be any lower. It could have been higher, but those are some issues that we've been talking about already, some things that need to change. But as long as we stay standard, we're fine. And we have put a lot of trainers and internal controls in place. And so now we really just kind of sitting back and seeing how that's working and how it's affecting the day-to-day operations of the Section 8 program. Human Resources been working really hard to address all the open positions, and I think we pretty much have filled all of them except for maybe 2. So great work to the Human Resource Department. And there's no update right now on Michi or Michi AA that we need to share. And miscellaneous, I have been appointed to the FADA Board of Trustees in the NORO International Research and Global Exchange Standing Committee as a regional appointment. They asked me if I would take on the 2 committee positions. I told them, yes, I did get approval from Ms. Kathleen to do that. The terms are from 2025 to 2027. And it'll be a really good opportunity for our agency to get nationally recognized and for us to participate in some of the initiatives that they have. Some of them in Washington. It's a lot of stuff that they do. And so it'll be good for us. It'll let us network, and maybe it can even help us with some funding issues that we have in here. And they also have commissioner committees. So if any other commissioners are ever interested in being on the commissioner committee, please let me know. And I will do all I can to get you a fine. So that's it for that one. And really, let's see. I think that's pretty much it. I got some resolutions, but I'll kind of go over them as we get to the resolutions. And Commissioner, you'll notice that you have a copy of the budget with a green sheet on front of it that says confidential. That's different from the one in the board packet because that one have people's names in there and a lot of sensitive information that you're entitled to, but not the public. So that's the reason why it look a little different and that you only have that printed out. Did anybody have any questions? I kind of went through a lot of stuff, but. Okay.
So we're ready to number 7?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we're gonna start, item number 7, new business. Letter A, resolution 3137, resolution approving the operating budget for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2025 and ending June 30th, 2026.
Well, the budget, is attached. It's the one that we reviewed in the various calls. There's been no changes up there, except for little tweaks here and there to make sure that everything that the commissioners want to see was placed on the budget. And again, if you don't see it on this one, it may be a request that we had to keep confidential. And so it's on the one that you have with the green cover. I don't think there's any questions, but do you have any questions about the budget?
I have no question.
Commissioner Goodwin, do you have any questions?
No, ma'am.
All right, thank you. I think I asked all my questions when we had the budget session. Yeah, and it was, everything was answered to that I was able to understand. So,
Madam Chair, would you like the motion?
yes, please.
I'd move approval of resolution 3137.
May I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Okay, Commissioner Healy made the motion. Seconded by Commissioner Anderson. Roll call, please.
Okay, Kathleen Bellastari,
Yes.
Kelly Healy,
Yes.
Francine Goodwin,
Yes.
Yuri Anderson.
Yes.
Okay, that concludes the roll call vote.
So now we'll go to item B under number 7, resolution 3138. Resolution adopting policy and procedures for write-offs of tenant accounts receivable.
The tenant account receivable policy has the procedures. It has background information as to why we do it, then it has the procedures, and then it tells you why this is a policy. So first off, tenant accounts receivables are not mandated by HUD for write-offs to be approved by the board, but to maintain transparency and let the board be able to fully do their fiduciary duties. I felt that it's necessary for you to do a resolution and approve all the write-offs. The amounts sometimes will be really low. That's why we'll do them on a quarterly basis, but we will not do any without the board's approval and with us providing an explanation as to what happened. So with the tenant write-offs, it's 2 months if you're in housing, which that's 60 days. So it seems like it's really quick, but it's not, because the person first gets a chance for a repayment agreement. They come in for counseling, the repayment agreement takes place. And then as long as they make the payments, nothing happened. But if they stop paying on a repayment agreement, then that's when the 60 days kick in to try to collect the entire balance. So even though the policies say that you only have 2 months before it's written off and we do the collections, really it could be a year, it could be 6 months. It depends on the individual family and how they adhere to the repayment agreement that they're offered. And that's for public housing. Another thing that's in the state of California, if you don't pay your rent after 3 days, you get an eviction notice. Well, the housing authority, we follow the HUD rules and regulations, so we don't give eviction notice after 3 days, we normally wait 30 days. But then at the same time, we offer a repayment agreement and things like that to try to keep the tenants housed and keep them current. The way that it'll work, the property managers can pull their age receivable report monthly. They'll look at it, compare it to their repayment agreements. And then anybody that does need to be written off, they'll give it to the asset manager. The asset manager will verify everything with the finance department, and then they'll present it to me. Once I look at it as the executive director, verify that all of the processes have been done, the tenants got a chance to pay, looking at the amounts, how long they've been outstanding, we'll supply a list to the board. Now, the list that comes to the board, because it's tenant information, it'll have a tenant T code on there. It won't have their name, but you will see their yard T code number. And it'll have the property, the T code, how much the amount is and how long it's been outstanding. And then we'll be prepared to answer any questions at the board level. If the board approves it, that would then go back to the finance department, and the finance department and the asset manager will work together to put those on the tenant accounts. So, for the housing department, as well as the Section 8, but we'll get to that one, you have what's called the EIV system. And you can go in there and you can place that balance on someone's account. And so that way, before they get housed again somewhere else, before they get any type of assistance, it would trigger for them to have to pay us or come into some type of agreement with us. So we really take this serious, because this can stop a person food stamps, TANF, all of that, because that balance will be sitting out there. So that's why we really take our time and explain it to them, go over with them, and give them every opportunity to pay before we do that. And also, when we write it off, we writing it off to clear the book, so we don't take that bad debt into the next fiscal year. But we can still try to collect the money, not only through EIV, but maybe at some time we can hire a collection agency and they'll take a percentage for whatever they collect, and then we would get the remaining balance. It's just really important that we do it. And one of the examples for the housing department is we had the red write-offs. Well, they didn't really do it right. That's why you guys had to end up approving them twice. And they had not been checking them like they were supposed to. With this policy, it'll be in place. You're supposed to check this every month. This is how you're supposed to do it. This who's responsible for this part. This who's responsible for that part. And it'll ensure that once you do approve something, it's fully executed, and it doesn't allow it to keep building and have to come back for another approval, which I know was really confusing. But the entire process was not done. Now, on the Section 8 side, the person have 30 days. The reason they have 30 days is because they got a voucher. So for the voucher, we don't really collect the money. So any money they owe us, either they got too much help, or they did a lot of damage or something to a landlord, and maybe we paid it through a security deposit or something like that. But mostly it's gonna be from HAP payments. For some reason, they either falsified information, or we made a mistake on the information, or they didn't report on time, and the housing authority end up paying extra money for their rent. So we bring that to their attention, do another repayment agreement with them, and then they can pay on it. And the repayment agreements can go like 12 months, 24 months, depending on the balance, because we try to make it affordable for them. And as long as they adhere to the repayment agreement, it's no problem. But then if they don't do the repayment agreement, then the HPSs will look at it. They'll give it to the HCV supervisor, and that she'll take the place, or he'll take the place of the asset manager, and working with finance to ensure all the balances are accurate. And theirs is in a different location because they normally don't have a tenant balance. That's why in the procedure, it tells them exactly where to go and what report to run, because their balance should be the same thing that finance have. And once they do that, they'll bring it to the ED. The ED will look at it, verify it, ensure that all of the compliance things were did, and then bring it to the board for board review. And if the board approve it, then we'll write it off. And it's the same thing. It'll go on the EIV. We'll try to collect it. But now this person will lose their voucher too. Because they haven't paid us, we're not allowed to let them continue to use the voucher and continue to get subsidy. So they'll have to relinquish the voucher, and they won't be able to get another one until they pay all the money back. Not only from us, but in the housing authority.
If they fall out of their repayment plan.
And they refuse to pay it back, because they'll still get an option, even though if you have a repayment agreement, and let's say you miss 1 month, We don't just write it off. You get called in and it's like, hey, what happened? What can you do? What's this? And if the person still don't pay it, then we have to go ahead and report it. So it's really incumbent upon them to make sure that they stay in some type of good standing, even if they have to request, you know, maybe can I change my amount? Can I pay a little lower, such and such a happen or whatever? As long as we have a good payment pattern, we'll work with them. But when we see they just not willing to pay, then we don't have no choice but to take the voucher. And see, most of the people in housing, they've been vacated by the time they get to this point. So you don't have a voucher to take, they already done left the unit. That's why it's crucial that you put it on their EIV, because they already gone, they probably got somewhere in between before you could post it. And so you gotta put it on there so that you can try to recapture it later. This came up when we were looking at all the Section 8 balances. And so just so you know, in the next meeting, if this is approved today, in September, we will have a TAR for Section 8 to be written off. They are behind on payments, $514,000, I think it is. Well, people been having repayment agreements since, I want to say 2016, might have been 15, and they never collected. And so they just been sitting out there. But before we bring them to the board, we need to have a policy. And then a lot of those are past tenants, so whatever amount is for the past tenants, we'll write that out and put it on the EIV, and whoever's still active, we will reach out to them to try to do a repayment agreement. And then just make sure that this is done monthly and then brought to the board quarterly the way that it's supposed to be processed. But yeah, it is, I think it's 514.
I had also asked, Derica, when we had the policy committee meeting, what if it was a person coming from another city or another state, and they come to our housing and they apply, and if they're able to find through that system that they owe another housing authority money, so they won't be able to, they'll have, it's the same process.
Yeah, they won't be able to get housing with us. It's really crucial that we do these things, and you know, $514,000 is an exorbitant amount of money. The rents are really high up here, so it doesn't take long for a balance to get extremely high and out of control. And so the staff really have to learn the importance of this. But in order for us to do that, we need to lead by example. That's why we need to have this policy, we need to have practice, and then as the management team, we need to make sure that all of these actions take place so that it don't get out of hand again. But do y'all have any other questions about it? I tried to kind of answer what I thought might be.
Commissioner Goodwin?
let's see, I did, it kind of slipped my mind. I'm trying to, okay. How did that balance of 500 and what was it, $14,000 get so big? I mean,
Well, what I believe happened is that we overpaid a lot of help for participants. And then once we found out, they put some of them on a repayment agreement, but they never pursued it to collect. So the person continued to have a voucher and the balance just sat out on the books. But I really can't be for sure until we go through each person, because
Right.
it go back to, I think it was 2016. But yeah.
that's crazy. But anyway, okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so do we have a motion for this resolution unless somebody has any additional questions? No?
No, I just want to thank Zulie that she addressed the questions that I sent in advance of her
Oh,
comments. I'll definitely have questions when we discuss 514 next meeting.
Yeah, I know.
So do I have a motion for resolution 313
I'll move to approve resolution 3138.
and a second?
Second.
Commissioner Anderson made the motion. Commissioner Hilly seconded. Motion?
Kathleen Bellis,
Yes.
Kevin Healy,
Yes.
Francine Goodwin,
Yes,
and Yuri Anderson.
Yes.
Okay, that concludes the roll call vote.
Okay, we're gonna go to 7C, resolution 3139. Resolution approving the renewal of the Vito USA PC contract for professional accounting services.
Okay, 2 years ago, we procured BDO, well, they were already working here on the audit, but it was a limited role. So we did a procurement to enhance the, role that they played in the regular day-to-day finance duties and the audit as well. Doing that, we also lessened the number of staff members that we needed at that time. And we decided that we would do this until such time that we got the book straight and that we could hire qualified people to come into these positions, so we would no longer need them to this extent. They'll never just be gone away, because you always need help with the audit, and you should have a third party to do that part. But maybe not as much as they're doing now, because what they're doing now is individual properties. So this is just a renewal of that. It didn't increase as far as the pricing or anything. It's just for it to keep moving forward. And what they did is $366,000, I think, for the properties. So they do 20 properties at $1,500 a month, but that's closing them, opening them, reconciling the books, going back, helping us with all of the stuff from prior years to make sure that it's cleaned out, and then putting process in place moving forward. And also that's training, because they do training for the staff. And then they help with the end of the year audit. Now that one says that it goes up to, I think it goes to like 100 and some thousand, but that's not necessarily true. It could be less. It just depends on how much help we really need with the audit. So and that's been getting better and better every year with Jen on board and Mahir taking a more active role. So that amount been decreasing, but the day-to-day stuff that they do has just stayed the same. We're not at the point right now that we need to get rid of them from doing the service, because they really helping us to get the finance department on track. And, you know, I've only been here a short time, but this is the best that I think I've seen the finance department operate, and being knowledgeable, and for us to really know what position the organization is. So I highly recommend that we continue with the contract, and then we can look at it again next year, or when we feel like, you know, that we need to really kind of change the services. But right now, I think we'd be doing a disservice to the organization if we stopped it. Because of just, I mean, it's just going really well. It really is. They have helped with so many things. They help me get so much on track. And then especially, if I'm being honest, the charges, they don't even really charge us for everything that they do. And probably because of the relationship, so we get a lot of training out of it too. And so I recommend for the board approve it so that we can keep this service going.
Do you have any questions regarding Vito? Any questions, Commissioner Goodwin, for Zalika?
No, I understand.
Okay, do you have a motion for resolution 3139?
Move approval.
Yeah, I got a motion, a second, please.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Anderson, roll call, please.
Kathleen Delastaro.
Yes.
Kevin Healy,
Yes.
Francine Goodwin,
Yes,
Yuri Anderson.
Yes.
Okay, that concludes the roll call vote.
Now we'll go to item 7D, resolution 3140, first addendum and amendment to the Tynan Village EBV HAP contract.
Okay, so Tynan Village have 41 units that are under a project-based contract. The initial contract was for 15 years. It ran out actually in November 30, 2023. So we would like to amend it and do a new contract for renewal for 25 years, starting on December 1st, 2023, and running for the next 25 years for the same 41 units. We don't want to add any units, but we don't want to take any away. Even with the 2-year lapse between when it expired and what we're doing now, we don't have to worry about any type of back pay or anything like that, because we kept operating as usual. We just need to make sure we put this on the calendar so that lapse doesn't happen again moving forward. The property really needs this contract because it's already having a few operating issues because of some maintenance and different things that need to happen. But overall, it's a profitable property, but the loss of this contract would really hinder that. And it is a HDC property, so it's one of our own properties. It would be in our best interest to execute the contract. Oh, and I know we under the HUD mandate, but the HUD mandate does not apply to existing project base. So since this is an existing contract, we can do the extension and approve it because we're not adding any units and still be considered as following the mandate. Does anybody have any questions?
I still don't understand the math in terms of the 40-year maximum, how that is working between what we originally did, the 2 years where we were out of contract, and then the 25 years you're at.
So you
So
can
I just need to be clarification that we're not gonna be exceeding the 40-year maximum.
No, we want to see the 40-year. We did 15.
Okay.
The 15, it stopped on November 30, 2023. So then we add in 25 if this is approved today. That'll actually be 40. The 25 years don't start today. It go back retro to when the other one expired.
Uh-huh.
And then it'll run for 23 more years. So we saying 25, so we can capture the two that didn't get under the renewal, but really it'll be another 23. And so that whole thing will be 40, so we won't be out of compliance. Thank you. Yeah, I know sometimes, but yeah.
Well, I think it wasn't articulated like the initial contract term, so that's why I was just like, wait.
Oh, yeah, you have to be careful because you'll get in trouble if you exceed those terms. Now, sometimes you can exceed them, but you gotta get waivers and all of that stuff. But for now, we're fine. We don't need any HUD approval, nothing like that. We just need the board approval to redo the contract. And then, like I said, the only thing what really would have caused us a problem if we would have tried to add a unit, because we under a mandate, we can't add no units. But this is already under contract, you can do a renewal, it's no problem.
Commissioner Goodwin, do you have any questions?
No,
Okay. So do we have a motion for resolution 3140?
I'll move approval of resolution 3140.
That approved by Commissioner Anderson. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Commissioner Goodwin, second. Roll call, please.
Kathleen Belastaro.
Yes.
Kevin Healy,
Yes.
Francine Goodwin,
Yes,
and Yuri Anderson.
Yes.
This concludes the roll call.
Okay, we're gonna go to item 8, information. Human resource report. Do you just want them to go through that and have them go through it, or just if anybody has any questions on any of these reports?
Well, if y'all got questions, and then I would just like to bring out one thing for them to talk about, and then whatever questions, of course, the commissioners have.
Okay, so we'll start with human resource.
Yes, ma'am. So James, you did a good job on your report. If you'll talk about the vacant positions a little.
Yeah, so we had quite a few vacancies that were that we interviewed for this month of August. July is the last one. We did fill most of all of them, with the exception of the Director of Property Management. Right now, we're shifting the focus from HCV, as Zalika, myself, and Gabby were kind of overseeing it temporarily. And then now we're going to property management to kind of infiltrate and kind of set the tone and the structure overall. But the vacancies wise, we did hire a property management supervisor. So he's in there gonna be starting September 2nd, which is after the Labor Day weekend. So hopefully all these people that we're currently opening throughout the whole agency will actually been filled and successfully are on board.
And,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, I just want to add with the people that we hire, a lot of people, they really didn't, they had transferable skills, but they didn't necessarily have all the experience that we would have wanted them to have. But they're natives to this area. They graduated from CS, UMB. They got a lot of stuff going on in the community. So we felt like that we could bring them on and just do a training, because we gotta be training staff anyway. So you will see some different training initiatives and stuff like that. I already been talking to Yarda about it. We even change our onboarding. So when a person come on, they used to go to spend like a day or so with human resource and then go to the site. Now they over here probably a week, maybe almost 2, doing trainings on the computer, all, whatever specific for their property, what they gotta learn, and going through fair housing and customer service skills before they even go to the property. So we really investing a lot in these new people, but I think they're gonna be very successful, and then hopefully that'll help to stabilize the employment.
And then to add to that too, the temporary internal employees that we had in HCV and also property management converted to permanent employees. So they're part of the batch of people that were brought on board.
Does anybody have any questions regarding the human resource?
On
people?
page 59, James, I was just a little bit like, I don't know, maybe concern's not too strong a word, but I was hoping you'd elaborate a little bit on your perspective relative to the turnover rate. 32% seems pretty aggressive. Do you have any additional info that you could share
Yeah.
comfortably as to maybe some of the motivating factors for the high turnover?
A lot of it kind of stems from the expectations that we're setting now for the new departments, maybe through whether it's HCV, property management, whether, you know, some of them had a long tenure here with HACM. They're used to kind of like that old school way, and now we're bringing the new mythology now coming into it. The expectations are higher, the bar is setting higher, Salika's initiatives and training and overall just expectations. So I think that when people are learning that new kind of core role and their value, they're either questioning their kind of overall perspective on the department and what they're bringing to HACM. And then now the ever evolving kind of HUD mandates and regulations are also being implemented and reiterated over and over. So that has a lot to do with it. Then overall, just personal goals. You know, people are either moving out from this community and going to more progressive area like the Bay Area, or just family in general, or out of state. You know, so just a lot of factors coming into play.
Excellent, thank you.
I would just like to add to the piggyback off what James said, a lot of those are resignations. Because they feel like that their skill set or their personal goals are no longer aligned with the current position, and that they would be better suited to maybe work at another company or start over. And so, you know, it's never nothing wrong with somebody doing that, but that is one thing also that affects the turnover rate.
So ultimately strengthen the agency.
Mhm.
Yeah, thank you.
Jerry, do you have any? I don't know. Commissioner Goodwin, do you have any comments or questions for James regarding the human resource report?
No, thank you.
Okay, I did write down a comment, so I wanted to read. So in regards to HR, I have been talking to Zalika, so I just wanted to comment, I'm sorry, getting tongue-tied here. I have, you know, seen them and talking to Zalika and James, you know, how they have they have been collaborating with SEIU Local 521, not only in collaboration, but also building up the team morale. And two, when, you know, okay, Zalika, you already been here with us with HACM 2 years? Okay, so you look at 2 years, a lot of times when there's a new person and they come on, you know, change is never easy, you know, adapting, you know, a new person, maybe the person before her or the persons before her, you know, they really didn't, you know, they were here, it was temporary. So now you have, you know, Zalika and then working with James, and they brought up in, you know, the standards, the expectations. And sometimes, you know, making the adjustments by an entire staff, sometimes it's difficult for them. But I have seen both of them trying, you know, with additional training, trying to, the employees being challenged to meet what the responsibilities and duties are of their position, especially because you have clients that are depending on them to get, so they can qualify to receive housing, and it's so important. And to me, when you serve the public, you have to be attentive. You have to be ready to help somebody. And what I have seen with them to and their staff, they have, in collaboration, they have demonstrated transparency, they have provided training, and they're still continuing to provide training. But most of all, they have built the morale, because the morale was very low. You know, there was workers that were always complaining, because I received the complaint from Supervisor Alejo, so I needed to go into his office and address these concerns. But I just want to challenge, you know, the staff that are under, you know, these managers, directors, and Zulika, you know, to give them a chance. You know, daily examine yourself when you're doing your job, when you're performing. You know, examine yourself. What do you want to see develop in your own ability? And, you know, don't take everything offensive, or you have to be be defensive, but be open, because that's the way, I think every one of us need self-improvement. You know, I don't work anymore, but I still serve my community. And sometimes I have to check myself, you know, whether I'm shopping, you know, somebody bumps me with their basket, am I gonna react crazy and come out on Facebook or TikTok or something? Like, there was a crazy lady in the store, but you know, everywhere we go, I wanna be a person that I have to check myself, and I need to self-improve. And I need to improve in areas. And I just wanted to say that, and I also wanted to say congratulations to the employee spotlight, Ricardo and Daniel. I got to meet Ricardo, right? He was at the groundbreaking in King City, so I got to talk to him for a little bit. That's it. Let's just say that. Okay, so now we will go to property management report. If anybody has any questions.
I have two comments and then, you know, whatever questions the commissioners have. So if you look at here it is, page 66 of the property management report, is the recertifications. So the recertifications, if you look at it, and we'll look at this one for example, Montecito Watson, it says it's 13 units. And then it say recertifications due 1. Then it says recertifications completed 1. Then it say late recertifications 1. Okay, so to me, I think I know what this mean, why it's wrote like that. But I think to help the board and anybody else who's looking at this, maybe we want to put on there, like, where it says the recertifications, you can have recertifications due every month. Every month you can have 1 or 2 that's due, 13. So where it say recertifications due and it has 1, if you're doing that this month, this is for July. So if you put on there recertifications due July 1, so you know it's 1 recertification due in July. Then the next one, recertifications completed in July, it's 1. Okay, so we know it was 1 recert due in July, 1 got completed in July. But then you say late recertifications, that should be anything prior to July. So maybe that might be 5, or maybe that might be 6, you know. But it'll help the report read better, because if you just got 1, 1, 1, then it's like, what is this 1? Because the late recert, where it say 1, that could have been January, February, March, you know, we don't know. It could be the one we're talking about, but we're not sure. And then you got the ones that's due. So I'm figuring it's due as of the month of this report. That's why it's on this report. And then the one completed is as of this report. But I think if you put that, just adding that little bit to the top of the column, it'll make it make more sense to somebody who reading it, because you got 13 units and it says 1 recert due, 1 recert completed, and 1 recert late. But is that the same research? Is that 2 research? You know, it just leaves questions. So if you could change the reporting to kind of flesh that out a little more, that'll really help. And so then the other part is for the HAP payments. And that is, you know, on 64, the housing assistance payments. Now, typically, housing assistance payments should never exceed 100%. Because you bill it in that month and you get it in that month. But the reason why some of these are over 100%, okay, like for instance, Gonzalez Family Rad, the collection rate for the HAP is 117.4%. Now this is a RAD property, so it definitely should just be 100% all the time. It shouldn't go over. But for it to go over, that means that it was some late research that got processed and they create adjustments. And so when the HAP got paid, it was the 100% regular plus whatever the adjustments was, and that's how it was over 100%. Or The other thing that it could mean is that the previous month went in. It was a discrepancy on there that couldn't be resolved before payment was issued. So HUD said, okay, instead of sending you 100,000, we're gonna send you 90, and we'll fix this. And then next month, if we get this fixed, we'll send the other $10,000 that we owe you. And that's why you will get over 100%. So anything over 100%, if I'm a board member, I'm letting you know it was some type of issue. It's good that they collected it, but it lets you know that it was some type of issue in the process. Now, the
Over
ones,
or under in that case,
Mhm,
right?
exactly, and for the red ones, all of their research are due of June every year. So the most time when you probably see a discrepancy in theirs will be for the months of June, July, and August. In those summer months, you probably see it go over 100. Another time, you really shouldn't see it go over 100. It should be 100 or it really just should be 100, to be honest, because it's just move in and move outs. But in the summertime, from July, August, and September, if the research are late or the research are not did properly, then you will start seeing 117, 115, stuff like that. Maybe September, depending on if they really late, but that should be about it. Now, the other properties where you got help, like, let's see. Celine, One Parkside, now that help, it could be over 100% at any time of the year, because those are Section 8 vouchers. So if a person have a change in their income and they report it, depending on the timing that they reported it to Section 8 versus the time that the monthly billing was did, it could be a difference, and then you have to go back and adjust. So now those at any time, you can see them be over 100, but it shouldn't be that high. If I was Section 8 department in our property, because we own this and we over the vouchers. So if I was Section 8 department and our housing department working together, like this 101, that's fine, 102%. Okay, I can see that because you got people moving in and out, you got some people got some research. But anything higher than that, you really don't want to know what happened. Because we don't have to deal with an outside entity, we dealing with another department. So it shouldn't be a big discrepancy, but 2% or something, that's no problem. That's just regular paperwork because that's dependent on the individual clients. So that's how you can end up with the help being over 100%. And then, okay, so see like Casanova Plaza help, it's at 99.4. Somebody didn't do their recertification, or they got some discrepancy about a tenant, because it should be 100%, that's Section 8 HAP money. So that let me know property management and Section 8 is disagreeing on when a client did or did not move in or move out. And so next month, that one, it might be 101 or 102, because they should fix that client. And I'm really confident to say it's only one client, because it's only a 0.6 difference in being 100%. So that let me know that's probably somebody just moved in. But that's why the help is like that. Now, the one that's really concerning on him, especially when I'm taking a good look, Montecito Watson, what in the world, Myra, is going on with this 75.1% collection rate on help?
I think this has to do with the past due annual recertification that we have outstanding, and because it's only 13 units, when it's at even 1 unit, it just really drops it.
Okay. So next month, that one should be over 100%, because that research issue should be taken care of. But that's kind of how the help, how the payments go. So I think that moving forward, when we have this type of report, if we see what's like Gonzalez family red, that's 117, we just need to go and put a note on there, because that's too high. What happened? Why is it over so much? And then if we see another one like Montecito Watson, that's 75.1, it should just already be a note here explaining, because that's 24.9% difference. That's a lot of money, even if it is smaller units and it can't do that, but still, that's a lot of money to be missing. So it should be a note added to go ahead and explain that. But does that make sense? That kind of is, and that I just wanted to bring that out on the property management report. So if commissioners, if you have any questions or anything.
I just want to clarify your comment. So on page 66, on the recertifications, are you proposing the first two columns, recertifications due and recertifications completed, be parenthetically referenced as month to date?
Mhm,
And then the last column would be year to date,
mhm.
cumulative of all the labor
Yes.
certifications pending. Excellent.
Yeah.
And then if I heard you correct on page 64, on the half payment, there would be 3 rows on this report that would not have a note that are at 100%. All of the other ones.
Yeah, the other ones is because, but that's right, and you know why? They're behind on all their research.
And so what I was gonna say, in addition to your proposal, was maybe there's a column added to this report that indicates adjustments.
Yeah, we could, because the rent collected column is really big in a rent charge, so you could put an adjustment column on there. And then that way you will know exactly how much it is and you know what it's going for. Okay, yeah, I think that was, thank you, that would work out really well. Mara, you got that?
Yes, I do. We didn't have, thank you.
You,
Yes, so on page 66 again, I just wanna, for the late certifications. So that would be late certifications that are due or late certifications that were completed in the period that this report is being due. So,
Anything completed will be in the recertifications completed column.
okay, whether it was past due
Mhm.
or, so this is still outstanding.
Mhm.
Year to, okay, that's helpful, just to make sure I understand that. And then back on 64, I just wanna help me again understand, in the total arrears column, with positive numbers, with negative numbers. Like,
The negative numbers is supposed to be some type of credits, but those credits probably gonna be washed out because. Let me see how I can put this in the new there. Okay, so in the yardage system, when you make adjustments on a client, file. When you make the adjustment, it may credit and debits. And so those credit and debits supposed to get applied to each other, and really they're supposed to zero out, but sometimes they can leave a credit balance. Which is us saying that it's a balance due to the client. But if you made a mistake in your processing, then that credit's sitting there, but it's really not a credit due to the client. And so you have to go in and adjust it. So I just find it hard to believe that it's $102,000 in credits out there. That let me know it's something wrong with the recertifications. And this one is with Section 8. It don't have a HAP contract. So it's something off between the Section 8 side and the property management side.
but so what you're saying is to read this column,
Mhm.
when I'm reading a
Yeah,
negative
parentheses
number,
Credit.
means that we, as the agency, are being shown to owe money to customers.
Yeah, either the Section 8 department or HUD could owe us money if it's okay, cause like the ones that's red, that HAP money come from HUD. And this is strictly for HAP. This is not rent. So this is strictly HAP payments. So this is money that's owed to us. So like,
The negative numbers or the positive numbers? Like, that's what I'm confused
the
about.
negative numbers, let's see, which one a good one? Well, I guess the 102,044,
Uh-huh.
for Daiichi. That's based on the HAP contract, so it's saying, and Myra, you correct me if I'm reading your report wrong, but it's saying that it's a credit for $102,000 in HAP payments, right?
That's correct. That's a credit that has not been applied, and in the system, it's sitting there and needs to be applied to the ledgers or to the.
Okay, so it's a HAP credit that need to be applied to the HAP ledger. This is not the tenant, this is just the agency, because the tenant only get the credit for whatever is up in the rent collection. So they did some adjustments, had to be multiple adjustments, and it created all these credits. And whoever did it did not completely apply it, and so the credit is still sitting out there. And so now somebody have to go in there, look at the credit, see if it's legitimate, and actually offset it with the correct debit to bring the balance down. So this is multiple adjustments on several tenant accounts. Either it had to have happened in Section 8 department, because they don't want control to have. And so, for example, like, let's say Miss Kathleen is a client staying over there. And let's say she don't pay no rent, so all her stuff is all HAP. And then her HAP supposed to be $2,000 a month. Section 8 go in there and they do some type of credit and they say, oh no, her HAP supposed to be $1,000. So they send that in the system. So now you got this other $1,000 sitting out there saying like it need to be paid by HAP. But then they said, oh no, we made a mistake. The date was wrong. We need to go back and change it. And so they go change it. And now it's in the whole $2,000, but it go back like an extra 2 or 3 months. So now the $1,000 still sitting there, $6,000 just came on there to take care of it. So then it's extra negative $5,000 sitting out there. And so then it also create a rent charge to go with it. It's a HAP charge to go with it, but ain't nobody applied the HAP rent charge to the HAP collections that was received. So the credit just still sitting now.
Okay. And then for the positive numbers?
Not a positive number, that's money that look like that we got a debit that they owe us money. But again, you know, I'm just gonna be honest, I would not trust these numbers. That's why we having some detailed meetings with property management as far as the overage under. Because all of this, now the one for the red properties, yes, because those are just annual adjustments with HUD. We know they right, we got a third party to look at them, all that, that's fine. But the ones that's with Section 8, no. We really gotta go into those accounts and see what happened on those tenants accounts, because some of them people, they also had PIC errors they just cleared up. And if they ain't cleared, when they do the PIC error, they have to reopen the tenant account, that 5/8. But it's a way to open it where it doesn't do any new charges. But if you don't follow that process and you reopen it, it'll create some charge. So we really gotta go through all and see what happened. But it's just charges out there, either positive or negative, that need to be balanced off.
Something that you're working on it, okay. Sorry, and I have one more question.
Oh, no, go ahead.
On the recertification deal, so the 66. So I understand what you were explaining around the individual lines as I read across. What I don't understand is how I get to the bottom total. And I have 128, 159, 183, and then 33. Like, that's what I don't understand. Like,
Myra, I'm gonna hazard to say that you didn't check your formula and
Yeah,
add
that's,
all
that has to be a formula issue, I apologize.
Okay, cause I was gonna ask you too, what is this green line? This in here is, why you got?
So the green line, anything that is under the green line is anything that has past due, anything above the green line is meeting expectations.
Okay, I think well, no, I know it threw off your formula and you might wanna like put that word in the line, cause I was really curious what it was. And I was gonna hold it, but since we asked so no, that'll be corrected. So that the numbers reflect properly. And you know, I'm gonna say, I know that we get really busy and we have 4 or 5 different versions of these reports before they get to the board. But we need to all be very mindful to make sure that everything add up properly and that the functions and all of that is really working on these Excel sheets. And y'all don't just leave it on Gabby to check it and make sure she's very busy. I'm doing stuff we can overlook it, because it really don't look good for it to get to the board packet and it's not adding up. And see, we look at them so much because we have a meeting about them. And sometimes they send 2 or 3 and you can just, you know, sometimes your mind will tell you the numbers there, but it's like, it's really not there. So really, let's just put a little extra thought on that and try to make sure that that doesn't happen again.
And there was the spotlight. Commissioner Goodwin, did you have any questions regarding that?
No, thank you.
Okay. And I know the spotlight, oh, okay.
Just finishing our final thought on the recertifications per Commissioner Anderson's comment, if I'm hearing it correct, then we could have a situation where a late recertification is completed and gets moved in the subsequent report to the recertifications completed, which would exceed the number due for that month. So we could I'm just putting it out there for my own mental memory for this particular report, that we could have a situation where we have a certain number of recertifications due and we have more completed than are due.
Yeah.
Right. Unless you add another column.
No, I don't.
Late research,
I just.
due rate, done.
I looked at it.
And I think we need to add a little verbiage, you know, down at the bottom. Cause sometimes even when you're looking at them all the time, it's like, what is this, what I told? So it kind of be self-explanatory, cause the report's really supposed to be easy to follow.
Well, and we want to give Myra and the team extra credit whenever we have recertifications beyond what was due, right?
Yeah.
When we have
No,
100
no, we don't, no, we gonna be like, y'all should have did in a month, they was dead with it. You get your credit when it's 28 due, 28 code.
I mean, aside from the finance department, like Myra's report has like the most amount of things that she's
Boy.
having to track in terms of like the property management, so I think it's. You know, it's a big task to undertake, rent collection.
And very
like,
detailed.
all of it, so
Mhm.
I think if nothing, like, I would take it as. Hey, the board is reading my report, you know, so it's like, I'm not just doing this thing and no one's paying any attention, it's like, this is the guts of it. So these are just so important and like really looking at it and trying to understand how are we meeting the needs of the people who are living either in the housing that we operate or that we're issuing vouchers to, and how we make sure that the agency is solvent so that we can continue to do that. So this is really important information. And appreciate that every single time it's getting better, and we've been asking for refinements so much over this past year that I know it's like trying to keep up with what we're asking for, and as we're learning what it is that we should be paying attention to, we're changing the finish line on you like every single month.
That's okay.
So
Well,
And so the spotlight, the property spotlight is one person, and I think it looks very beautiful. Very nice.
But it's a nice property, but I am, it's not making money, but it is a nice property. I'm just gonna throw that out there. Yes. Yeah. So we're working on it.
Commissioner Goodwin, do you have any other comments, questions for the property management report?
I'm sorry,
But do you have any additional questions or comments for the property management report?
no,
Okay, thank you. Alrighty, so now we're gonna go to item 8C, housing programs report.
Okay, this is the Section 8 report, and I think all of you met Lucila last time. I'm not sure if she's the interim director for the housing first voucher program. I'm gonna let her kind of answer the questions. I'm only gonna talk about two things on here. One, so far, we have been doing pretty good with the funding, even though we're in shortfall, but however, next month, we're gonna be short for mainstream around $80,000. But we do have mainstream admin money that we can use. We don't like to use the admin because it's for salaries and training and all that. But we're gonna have to keep the mainstream program running. Applications was completed for mainstream to get additional money and for the regular HCV program to get additional money. HUD hasn't awarded anybody yet. So we haven't found out yet how much we're gonna get or if we're gonna get anything. But next month will be our first month that we actually are impacted by the shortfall, and it'll be with the mainstream project. It'll be $80,000. And we're gonna start doing the inspections. Right now, we have 735 late inspections that need to be performed. And we got a contractor on board, but the contractor can only do HECM and HDC owned properties. We did request with the union to let the contractors do the union inspections. However, we have not gotten an answer back that would be allowable, so we will not be able to move forward with that at this time. So that will impact the staff, but we do have a contractor that will be able to do the HECM and HDC owned. And we're gonna start doing that September the 1st. We did it through the bid process, and so we really got some good quotes. They got a lot of experience in the industry, and so we can make a plan, but I had the staff to separate how many of them was HECM owned and how many of them are, inspections the staff can do. So they finishing that up. So the next meeting, we'll have all that to say, the 743, 400 is, hopefully 400 is HECM or HDC on. The 300 the staff gotta do. It'll be more detailed, but that'll start on September the 1st. And that was all I really had to, and just to clarify again, we are on the mandate, we cannot issue new vouchers. Now, we can issue VASH vouchers, because they have their own funding. So you can see a new voucher for a VASH participant. We can issue a PDV that's already under contract, or that was already allocated to be under contract, because we already accounted for that in our PDV totals that we've been sending in for the last 2 years. So that's the only traffic you really see for a new voucher. Now, however, for some reason, it's a lot of people moving. I don't know why, but it's a lot of people moving. Me personally, I would sit still, but they move, so when they move, they voucher come out the count. So it might have been 500, you see it go to 499. But soon as they get housed in their new place, it go back up. And so then you'll see it come back. So you'll see little small variances, but it's either gonna be from a PDB, a VASH, or somebody who was moving. Now, with us not being able to issue vouchers, somebody who get terminated, they really not impacted by us not being able to issue vouchers, because it's the same process. If a person don't do their research, or they do something on a program that warrant for them to get terminated, then they lose their voucher and they have to clear up whatever that issue is and wait for the waiting list to open up again. So even if we weren't under a mandate, if they get terminated, they still would have had to wait 3 or 4 years for us to open the waiting list again before they could apply. So it's not impacting that. And we're really not being any stricter about the process. So if somebody do get terminated, it's because they really did violate the program rules and regulations, and they did not take whatever corrective action it was. So I just want to kind of put that part out there. That's why we really stand, if you notice, we 46 this, 46 that. They don't, we get graded on our utilization. Our utilization is very high right now. It's over 95%. So our vouchers will have to decrease probably down to 4,300 before the impact our utilization score. So we're good on that end. The only thing we really gotta worry about is making sure that we only issue contracted PBB. We only issue VASH. We account for the people that's moving in the correct way, because they have these codes. They're supposed to be a 9 searching, because we can't do a new one for them and have a 10. But these, like the codes in the system, belongs to code, right? It won't get flagged, and it won't violate our agreement with HUD. And so we'll be still adhering to the plan that was put in place by the shortfall team. Did anybody have any questions about that? I kind of talked about it, but I was trying to make sure I ain't leave nothing out.
Any questions in regards to the housing programs report?
Quick question, on the annual research inspections. So is it possible that an individual is on the list more than once? So this is 735 individual voucher,
Yeah,
or, okay. Darn, I was hoping that you could, like.
Yeah,
I did my inspection in 3 years, so like we get 3 in 1.
No, it's an individual household.
Okay, and then just again, for clarity on understanding the reports. On this particular report, now I'm looking at the table. The monthly tax difference is a negative number in red. But that is actually a positive number in our mind, because we expended more than we were planning for. So like
Yes.
this month, we have a number in the black, or July 329, which means that what we were allocated was less than what we spent. So we are.
Kind of, sort of. So.
I'm very confused by how negative and positive numbers are used
And they
in our reports.
for each one. So, okay, for the section 8, the HUD, they look at all the vouchers we have at the beginning of the month up to like the 5th day, I think. Whatever that is, that's how they say this is how much money you need for the month. But of course, we have other people move in throughout the month. And then they look at our overall budget authority and they say, send them this much money for the vouchers, send them this much for admin. So for July, no, let's do June. For June, they they deposited in our bank $7,180,000. Section 8, after we processed all the payments with all the rent increases and moves and all of this for the whole month, spent $8,777,000. So then the year-to-date HAP expenditure, the amount of HAP we spent up to this date for the year rose to $51,094,239
Okay.
The monthly HAP difference is the monthly HAP that HUD sent us minus what we spent.
Mhm.
So we went $1.5 million over what HUD sent us.
Right.
So it's good because we service that many people, but it's bad because that money had to come out of our admin money to pay it until HUD give us the HAP money back.
Uh-huh.
Because if you look under that, when you see where it say FMC additional payments,
Mhm.
when we see it's gonna be short like that, we can request money. Cause they hold so much money for us. So we say, hey, we're gonna be short. We need you to send us the money or front load us for the next month and send some money. So that particular month of June, looked like we got a front load and we got additional money. So we got an additional $5.4 million. That's why when you come to July, the HUD, they sent us $9 million,
Mhm.
but we end up spending 8.7.
Mhm.
So that time they actually sent us more money than what we spent. That's how we got 329 that's actually in the black.
Mhm.
But we gonna spend it,
We
the
spend
next
in
month. Yeah,
August.
so the monthly HAP difference, that's our number to show the difference between what HUD sent us and what we actually sent out of here in checks.
Okay.
And then we take that from whatever HUD front load us and what we expecting. And so that's why you'll see like so many of them negative.
Mhm.
Then you'll see a front load on there for $4 or $5 million. And so then the next month, it just so happened for this one, which kind of odd, but maybe because we actually caught up a lot, the 329.
Mhm.
Because remember too, from February to June, we was catching up. So we was always going over. So you ought to see it kind of leveling out, but that's what the difference in the numbers is.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Oh, I should have let Lucila explain it.
So is there any additional questions regarding the housing programs report? Commissioner Goodwin?
No, thank you.
Alrighty, so we will move to item 8D, development report.
I already talked about King City, so, y'all have any questions for Nora? And Nora, I think you should also tell them about number 3.
Number 3. Oh, yes, we're finally at the end of our placement service package and our 8609s have been issued and sent into the IRS, which means we get our final payout. And that's in process. We're doing due diligence now and we should probably see that in the next 30 to 45 days. And our last payout would be $240,000 of what was left over developer fee for Parkside. Any other questions?
Anybody have any questions?
Any questions, Commissioner Goodwin?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move now to 8E, the finance report.
Really for the finance report, we kind of just concentrated on the budget. But Jen, is there anything you want to highlight off your first page?
Well, this first page, we talk with the Yuri, and we try to make it the whole financial package as simple as possible, but be clear. So this is the cover letter page, it's just 3 sections. First section talk about how many, what is the financial report including this package. The second the section is talking about the single audit and the agency audit. How many is complete, how many is start or is pending. And the last section just to talk about the accounting finance department, what we doing in the past months and going forward. But every month we have some information update. This page. That's nice. This is a June 30, 2025. So this week is the last week of August. BDO is going to finish their review, upload all the journal entry they booked to Yardi. Then August 31st, we're on before they were going to file an audit financial statement to HUD. So we made the deadline. And then going forward, you were talking about, say, we still need to work on this as a financial report. Urin gave some advice, say what kind of information they want to see. So we try to, and also the Zoom income. So we will continue work and improve this, the financial statement.
Any questions for, Jim? I'm sorry, I always mispronounce your name. Commissioner Goodwin, do you have any questions regarding the finance report?
No, thank you. No.
Well, now we will, did we want to do commissioner comments real quick before we go into closed session?
Well, we still gotta do the HDC meeting, but we got an item on there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Oh, is the closed session on ours or is it on HTC?
it's on ours.
Oh, that's, okay.
So we go
Okay.
to the comments after, since we still got.
Okay.
Like these.
Okay,
Would it be possible to like recess HACM and then call to order HDC and do that meeting and then recall HACM to order and do closed session?
Finish with both.
We should, because we always say it's gonna be following the HELCOM meeting, so anybody who wanted to know about HTC actually should be on the line by now, so I don't see no reason why we couldn't.
We can recess the call of the chairs and.
I believe if the chair is amenable to that.
Yeah, if you want to, Ms. Kathleen,
okay, so what do I say? That we're gonna recess
the
the
HELCOM meeting, they
meeting
go
and
into
go
the
to HDC, okay. So right now at 6:25, we are we're recessing the HACA meeting and we will be going into the HDC meeting. Okay.
All right, so at 6:25 PM, I'm gonna call to order the regular meeting of the Housing Development Corporation. And if we could have a roll call for the HDC
okay, Yuri Anderson,
here.
Kathleen Bellastars,
Present?
Francine Goodwin,
Present.
Kevin Hill,
President.
and Mr. Roscoe is absent.
Are there any additions or corrections to the agenda? All right. Are there any comments from the public on anything within the purview of the Housing Development Corporation that aren't on the agenda?
Do we have anyone online?
All right, seeing and hearing none, we're gonna close public comment and move into item number 4, which is approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of HDC held on June 23rd, 2025.
I make a motion to approve the regular board meeting, the minutes of the regular board meeting held June 23rd, 2025.
Second.
All right, motion from,
Oh, I'm sorry, that was the minutes I got confused. I rescind my second and abstain since I was not present, and I will defer to Commissioner Director Goodwin.
is there a second for Director Ballesteros' motion?
Director Goodwin?
I'll second the motion.
Okay.
All right, so any comments from the public on the item? Seeing none, if I can have a roll call,
Yuri Anderson,
yes.
Kathleen Bellastars.
Yes.
Francine Goodwin,
Yes.
Kevin Hill.
Abstain.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, motion passes. All right, we are now on to item 5, new business. First item on our agenda is a resolution MDC 247 approving the operating budget for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2025 and ending June 30th, 2026. Is there any additional comments that the staff would like to make on the budget?
No additional comments other than what was presented in the individual meetings.
Any questions or comments from the directors?
None.
Move approval of resolution MDC 247.
And I second.
Motion by Director Healy, second by Director Ballesteros. Any comments from the public? Seeing none, we have a roll call vote, please.
Yuri Anderson,
Yes.
Kathleen Bellastars.
Yes.
Francine Goodwin,
Yes.
Kevin Hill.
Yes.
All right, now we're on to 5B, resolution MDC 248, adopting a policy and procedures for write-up of tenant accounts receivable. Any additional
The only thing is no HCV for HRDC, so that's why it's only for the housing department. They don't have a voucher program, but everything else will mirror what we do at health.
Any questions from directors? Comments?
No.
I entertain a motion to approve resolution MDC 248.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion from Director Ballesteros, second from Director Healy. Any comments from the public? Seeing none, we have a roll call vote, please.
Anderson,
Yes.
Delastaros,
Yes.
Goodwin,
Yes,
Healy.
Yes.
All right, any general director comments regarding HDC? Right, seeing none, I will adjourn the HDC meeting at 6:29 PM and relinquish the chair back to Chair.
That's a world record.
Okay, we're opening up the HACM board meeting at 6:28, or no, 6:29.
Mhm.
And we are now gonna go into closed session according.
I'm sorry, Ms. Kathleen, what you gonna do commissioner comments that way?
Oh,
it's
okay.
in the Closed session.
Okay. So I'm sorry, we're gonna go to item 10, commissioner comments. Any commissioners have any comments, starting with Commissioner Healy?
As always, thank you all the staff for all their hard work and the improvements and the continued improvement on the reporting. Getting easier to follow, and I think the reports and the information that was being conveyed is much more robust and dense, so thank you. Specific thanks to Zulika and Jen and the staff for all the work you did to put the budget review meetings together. That was much appreciated on my part. And I am interested in any opportunities I have to serve and increase my contribution via the NARO committees, commissioner committees. So definitely interested in seeing what's available and how I might be able to increase my contribution. And lastly, I'm not sure what happened with the scheduling on the board report committee. It's likely my error, but I would like to make a request that relative to the board report for the committees, can we receive an email with the link for the meeting 24 hours at least in advance of the meeting? Please? Thank you.
Commissioner Anderson, comment?
I would just ditto everything Commissioner Healy said about their preparation from the staff. Greatly appreciated the time that Jen spent with Zulika going over the budget, making it, very easy for us to move to this meeting. And then just the information is incredibly robust and great to, there's just so much work going on, and I really appreciate all the time that the staff spends explaining it to us in a digestible way, making these meetings move. They're very efficient. And I appreciate Zulika just your clarity and your upfrontness and your desire to have us do really good work. Thank you.
Commissioner Goodwin, do you have any commissioner comments?
I just wanted to thank everyone who worked so hard to get us the information for our meetings. I know it's not easy. Thank you.
And I just want to say thank you to both staff for HACM and HDC and everything, and Jen, thank you for that budget session we had with you. Thank you for explaining. I know it's a lot of detail, and I was just receiving it as simple as I could, as I heard it. And thank you, Zulika, for your support. And I did really enjoy myself at that groundbreaking ceremony. The food was great, and I enjoyed it. So from here, we're gonna go now into closed session, and the time is 6:32. 6:32.
James, don't you go nowhere, because I can't let somebody else come in the closed session. I want to come in for a part to discuss. I know I ain't taking it ahead of time, but
Thank you. So we are opening up the meeting from closed session. The time is 7:24. And we have nothing to report out of closed session, and we will now adjourn the meeting at 7:25. Everybody have a good evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good Labor Day weekend.
You too, Francine.
Bye, Francine.
Bye-bye. Thank you.